Brokedown Palace opens with the thrill of youthful adventure and moves into the gravity of legal consequence. Yet its deepest arc emerges through inner transformation. This is a film where identity forges itself in the crucible of choice. At its core, the narrative functions as a modern myth. Alice and Darlene journey across archetypal terrain. Their friendship embodies a dialogue between two halves of the same soul, reflecting contrasting aspects: the innocent and the sovereign, the receptive and the resolute. Thailand, with its distinct laws and unyielding systems, becomes symbolic ground, where illusions collapse and essence stands revealed. This analysis approaches the film through a mythic psychological lens. What does it mean to choose sacrifice through one's own will? What kind of freedom arises from within the cage of constraint? Brokedown Palace poses these questions to initiate, drawing the viewer deep into experience. The film concludes as an open-handed transmission, an offering rather than an answer. On the surface, Brokedown Palace tells a straightforward story. Two American girls, Alice and Darlene, embark on a trip to Thailand after high school. What begins with lightness quickly deepens into legal and existential crisis. After heroin is discovered in their luggage, they are arrested and thrust into the relentless machinery of a foreign justice system. This setup marks a threshold moment. Arrival in Thailand signals a crossing from adolescence into consequence. External events awaken archetypal themes: the trickster, the loss of control, the stripping away of illusion. Alice moves reactively and instinctively through the story with urgency and force. Darlene, trusting and reserved, follows with quiet hope for resolution. Their dynamic frames the emotional stakes, while Alice carries the initiatory arc. Enter Hank, the American lawyer, a moral touchstone wrapped in ambiguity. Equipped with reason, but navigating a system lacking guarantees, Hank provides insight and advocacy while maintaining outsider status. Like a trickster, he is intelligent, both mistrusted and suspended between outcomes, embodying the tension between law and truth. This section of the film sets the outer drama and constructs a symbolic landscape where transformation becomes possible. The arrest summons initiation rather than defeat. The prison in Brokedown Palace stands as more than a backdrop of suffering. It functions as a crucible, a liminal space where outer confinement invites inner confrontation. Within these walls, the mythic heart of the story breathes, transformation through containment. This transformation proceeds gradually and intensely. Initially, the prison dehumanizes. Heat, crowding, and constant surveillance reduce the girls to bodies within a merciless system. Yet as the film unfolds, a subtle shift takes place. Especially for Alice, the space changes into a crucible for clarity and inner reckoning. Stripped of control, comfort, and reputation, Alice enters a state of pure becoming. She sheds her roles, rebel, impulsive friend, suspect, as pressure intensifies. What remains is presence. Her suffering distills rather than cleanses. The prison embodies a symbolic underworld. The realm of laws and arguments recedes. In its place emerges the domain of character, will, and silence. We witness varied responses to confinement: rage, solidarity, surrender. Alice's response is reflection, active choice instead of passive endurance, a quiet alignment with something deeper than guilt or innocence. Her power awakens through conscious acceptance of what remains. Here lies the paradox of the prison. Its violence and injustice persist undeniably, yet within its confines a form of interior liberation arises. The bars become gates of initiation rather than fetters of fate. Alice begins impulsive, skeptical, and emotionally armored, a personality forged in defiance and instinct. As external scaffolding collapses, refinement under pressure emerges. She moves through fire and surfaces with precision. Her sovereignty takes shape through choice. In a system designed to erase agency and without rescue, Alice claims herself, shaping her stance within the system rather than resisting it. Her will expresses itself in deliberate, unwavering action. Alice's sovereignty means clarity within, rather than control over others. She chooses her burden and bears it in silence, sovereign and whole. Her transformation happens without spectacle, steady and internal. The shift reveals itself in stillness, in her steadiness amid dissolution, acceptance of consequence, and the quiet gaze marking her final decision. Alice passes from shadow projection, brash, dismissive, resistant to limits, to encounter and integration. The prison dissolves projection and invites wholeness. Her journey moves inward, a deepening rather than ascent. The climax of Brokedown Palace expands through ritual action. Alice stands before the court and claims sole guilt for the crime. The moment's strength arises from her freedom to choose. The act transforms through conscious intention. She steps forward as sovereign, embracing self-authorship and agency. This gesture forms the film's quiet center of gravity. The system remains unmoved. Justice remains open. Recognition lies beyond authority's reach. Alice acts with inner resolve. Her decision rises beyond innocence or vindication. In that instant, she claims authorship over a reality already in place. The moment resonates through presence, posture, voice, stillness. Her action requires no persuasion. Ritual completion marks a profound movement of the soul. Her most haunting line arrives through her eyes, pure expectation. Her gaze rests in the truth of her decision. The fullness of her choice reveals itself within. This ending creates completion on an inner level, resolving the arc that began at consequence's threshold. By releasing attachment to outcomes, Alice fulfills her journey into will. She confesses as a declaration of becoming. Brokedown Palace draws strength from framing the unknown as sacred. Alice's guilt and innocence remain suspended without resolution, yet the story transcends such dualities. Instead, it invites profound engagement. What meaning arises from choice when truth stays beyond reach? This sacred ambiguity sharpens the story's impact. Viewers receive an invitation for inner inquiry rather than judgment. The film returns the question to the audience. What would you do? What burden would you bear? What path would you choose? Ambiguity performs a mythic function, inviting reflection rather than imposing closure. Alice's arc holds significance through embracing complexity rather than simplification. Her choice transforms uncertainty into profound meaning. Brokedown Palace operates as a mirror. Its intentional ambiguity creates a sacred space where viewers step in and define what truly matters. Meaning emerges through discovery, not delivery. Brokedown Palace inhabits a wider cinematic and mythic conversation on imprisonment, moral choice, and self-definition. Its themes resonate with others, yet assert unique voice within broader archetypal discourse. In The Shawshank Redemption, endurance becomes its own redemption, and hope drives the journey. Alice's path diverges, embodying acceptance in the present rather than endurance for future freedom, clarity as arrival rather than hope as escape. These parallels illuminate rather than compete. Brokedown Palace reimagines the myth of the captive soul, not as one awaiting liberation, but as one consecrating her own sentence. The prison serves as right. Injustice does not define Alice. Her choice defines her. The film reveals a feminine mythos of sovereignty, forged in silence, resolve, and chosen burden. Brokedown Palace closes with presence rather than resolution. Alice's final reflection embraces the consequences of her choice with acceptance and clarity. she holds steady in the depth of her choice, clear-eyed and resolved. The story transcends triumph, exoneration, or despair. It reveals the dignity of authorship. The film's power flows from portraying Alice's self-definition, a sovereignty enacted quietly, carried in posture, and sealed in conscious choice. Her sovereignty burns as an inward flame rather than a call for empire or escape. She embodies agency within confinement, choosing how to be seen rather than waiting for rescue. Alice's closing voiceover captures this reality. Though unseen by others, she stands firm in what was hers to choose, the most right thing for her life. In this light, true sovereignty emerges as choosing who you are, fully and authentically, even in solitude. She consecrates the sentence, and in that act becomes whole. If this journey opened a new lens or whispered something forgotten, hit like, drop a comment, and share it with someone walking their own path. For those who want to go deeper, we built Only Fire Remembers, a guide that weaves together the film analyses, dreamwork rituals, and an audio companion designed to turn story into practice. It lives on Ko-fi, along with ways to support the work. Link below. Subscribe for more myth, shadow work, and soul mapping through story. The myth continues.